All right, good morning, 2025. Today is Monday, April 20th, 2020. Let's buzz right on in. Our vocabulary word for today is prominent. So, your job is to find the definition of that word, create your own definition for that word, and then create a sentence for this word, okay? So, inside your folder, you're going to find a Google Docs where you can fill this out, okay? Word of the day is prominent. I want you to go ahead and take a look at what our objective is today, what our what, our why, and our how is. So, what are we doing today is we're practicing identifying rhyme, repetition, and alliteration. Why are we doing this? We're doing this so that we can understand that many poems and some poems use the musical qualities of language in creative ways, which we're going to see throughout the poems that we read. Okay? The how, we're going to determine the impact of rhymes, repetition, and alliteration on a text. And then we're going to analyze how some sound devices make text more vivid and imaginative. Okay. And then we're going to analyze the impact of sound devices on the overall tone and meaning of a poem, play, and story. So before we get started, I want you to look out for these three words. So we have rhyme, repetition, and alliteration. So rhyme, the repetition um, of sounds at the ends of words, giving poems a musical quality and creates units between items. Okay, repetition um, is repeated use of sound, words, phrase, or line, and then alliteration is the repetition of constant sounds at the beginning of the words. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into our lesson for today. All right, follow along as I read out loud. Did you know that a song is a poem in disguise? Like songwriters, poets, and other adults reveal the musical qualities of language. They use words, sounds, and rhymes in creative ways. Repetition. The, re- the repeated use of sound, word, phrase, or line is one way in which authors produce an effect that adds meaning. An example of this alliteration or repetition of constant sounds at the beginning of the word. Rhyme or repetition of sounds at the end of the word gives poems a musical quality and creates units between ideas. Okay, so I just want you to go ahead and read this poem and just look for different rhymes and alliteration throughout this poem. I'm going to go ahead and give you a minute to do that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and read it out loud, but I want you to remember that as careful readers, we're really mindful of those sounds since that's often how um, us as readers draw up what the feelings or emotions that the author is trying to convey. All right. Night rescue. BB Nolan. It is just a small storm, the weatherman said. So my sleepy sister slipped off to bed. Then, just as a small storm shot about from the sky, our house shook from the jolt, wires started to fry. Soon swirling the smoke sailed away down the hall, but brave heroes came quickly and rescued us all. Nice. All right, so we were looking for rhyming and alliteration. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this chart down here. So I want you to know that as we're looking at this chart is helping us to organize ideas and how the rhyming words and alliteration affect the poem meaning. Okay, so the first sound device is rhyming words. The examples: said, bed, bolt, jolt, sky, fry, haul, all. The impact of this is they connected ideas and created unity in the structure, right? So when I go back up and I see those rhyming words, that was the first two. Said bed. It was just a small storm, the weatherman said, so my sleepy sister slipped off to bed. Said in bed. Okay, those are the two words that was connected. Then just a small storm shot a bolt from the sky. Our house shook from the jolt. Wire started to fry. Bolt and jolt. Sky and fry. Okay. Soon swirling of smoke sailed away down the hall, but brave heroes came quickly to rescue us all. Okay. The reason I went back to read that after we found the examples is because I want us to understand that poetry and other literature texts, it's important to recognize the interpretive choice of what the author is trying to say so we can have a better understanding of what we're reading or what we're looking for, okay? So the alliteration examples are small storm, sleepy sister slipped, soon swirling, and smoke sail. And the meaning of that is using the same sounds calls attention to that word. Okay? Small storm. So you see how we are constantly saying the same, the S. The S in my head as I'm reading that, and I'm constantly saying the S word, it is making me pay attention to what they're actually saying. Like maybe this is important. Maybe if this part wasn't in this poem, would I really understand what the author is trying to say? Okay? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So let me go ahead and give you a brief little overview of the different readings that you're going to be doing today. Because yes, we're reading this next text called Harriet Tubman, but we have other ones as well, and I just want to explain. So you're going to read a type of literature called drama, okay? So plays are works of fiction intended to be performed on stage, okay, which includes dialogue, and we know that dialogue is the words that each character is saying or the conversation that's happening. But dialogue helps reveal information about the plot, the character traits, motivation, attitude, right? So, also, what a character's dialogue does is it helps readers. Okay, 1 second. So, I'm sorry, I'm messing up my words. So, a character's dialogue also helps readers understand their character, right? Like, so that helps you form the relationship with that character because we know that in plays, those are performed on the stage. The dialogue is the main element of what's going on, of the plot, of the story for it, okay? And we know that when we're reading, we don't get that same experience from when we're actually seeing that played out in our, you know, in our face. So not this lesson, but the next lesson that you're going to read is a play called To Honor, which quotes from famous poems. So this play is about a group of students discussing their group project. Okay, I want you before you even start reading it, I want you to predict why why a play is good format to choose for this topic. Like why did the author decide to make it a play instead of an actual book? Does that make sense? I explain as we go further on. So we're also going to read this Harriet Tubman um, little passage, which honors the famous African American woman. Welcome Home is a story about a girl and her brother who is in the Air Force and is deployed to the Middle East. Okay, so that's what we're about to read about. It's a lyrical poem. So let's go ahead and I just want you to go ahead and just read through it by yourself. I'm gonna give you a minute to do that. So as we're reading this, I want you to look for sound devices in the poem, okay? All right, so before we even get reading, I want you to think about this question as we read. How does the poet use rhyme, alliteration, repetition, and her description of Harriet Tubman? Okay, so look at that. All right, Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman didn't take no stuff, wasn't scared of nothing neither. Didn't come in the world to be no slave, and wasn't going to stay one either. Farewell, she said to her friends one night. She was mighty sad to leave 'em, but she ran away that dark, hot night. Ran looking for her freedom. She ran to the woods, and she ran through the woods, with a slave catcher right behind her. And she kept on going till she got to the north where those mean men couldn't find her. Now remember, I want you to think about how does the poet use rhyme, alliteration, and repetition in her description of Harriet Tubman. Okay, so let's go down to this chart. Now, remember, this chart is helping us organize our ideas about how the rhyming words and the alliteration affect the poem or the meaning, okay? So, our sound devices, we have rhyming words, alliteration, repetition. So, the examples for rhyming words is neither, either, behind her, find her. The examples for alliteration is nothing, neither. Now we need examples for repetition. Okay, I want you to go ahead and take 30 seconds, see if you can find your repetition. All right, so one of the repetitions that I picked up on was she ran to the woods and she ran through the woods. Okay, so we need to figure out what the impact of these are. All right, so this was my repetition. The impact of the rhyming words, neither, either, behind her, find her, is they help create unity in a poem and a musical quality. For the alliteration, the impact of nothing, neither, they add to the poem's rhyme. It helps readers imagine that Harriet Tubman is the one talking. Okay, so it gives the poem an actual voice. And then repetition, ran to the woods, ran through the woods. It empathized that she had to run for a long time to get away from the slave catchers. Okay, I'll give you a second to finish looking at that. Now remember, this slide, along with this whole entire slideshow, is inside of your material for today. Okay, unit presentation. And then while we're here, I'm just going to show you. You have your reading questions. You have your CC practice. You have your material. This is your material where you go to find what I'm actually looking at, a hard copy for you, well, electronic copy for you to go at your own pace. Here go your vocabulary and your exit ticket. Then you have your guided practice, and then you have some IXL um, review. So you're still going to be doing some analyzing, but it's just going to be about short stories now. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and continue this reading, and then that's when you're going to branch off, and you're going to go ahead and finish what I just showed you. So when you're done reading, this is the reading questions that you need to answer along with the rest of the work, okay? So let's finish up this part really quickly. Now remember to always pay attention to your close read and your hints. Your close read helps you recognize and identify sound devices common to many poems, and then the hint helps us analyze our feelings as we read the repeated phrases in the poem. Okay, so All right. 19 times she went back south to get 300 others. She ran for her freedom 19 times to save black sisters and brothers. Harriet Truman didn't take no stuff, wasn't scared of nothing either. Didn't come in this world to be no slave, and didn't stay one either. And didn't stay one either. All right. So you will have the opportunity to answer this question under the material for today. So the question says, which choice best states the impact that the repeated phrase 19 times has on the poet's message? Okay. So you're going to answer this question along with this question in your reading question form. Okay. And remember, out of this lesson, this is what you should have came out of this lesson with. Okay. So do you understand how to identify rhyme, repetition, and alliteration? It's a question that you're asking yourself now, because that would be the what of this lesson. Do you understand that many poems and prose use musical qualities of language in creative ways, like the repetition where 19 times and then something else 19 times? Do you understand that? And what about the impact of rhymes, repetition, and alliteration on a text? Just think about again what we just read about Harriet Tubman. The repetitions, the things that I kept saying, the things that she kept mentioning in the poem. Was it something that you were able to see just based off the sound devices, like based off constantly saying it over again, based off saying the same sounds? Were you able to picture that? And then think about the impact of sound devices, overall tone, and meaning of the poem that we were reading. All right. So, with that being said, your what, your why, and your how is what you should be coming out of your lesson feeling like you understand. Okay. One last time with your vocabulary word, prominent. Make sure you find a definition, create a definition, and write a sentence for this word. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Monday. If you need anything, send me a message and I'll message back. You guys have a great one. Bye. Love you.